Once again, good afternoon. It's a bit unfortunate that Mr. Correia has refused to once again not follow direction and ignore the City Council's vote and order. I was waiting in the clerk's office this afternoon at 5 p.m. It's a little after 5 right now, and he was a no-show. I want to remind everyone that I am only one councilor. I can't speak for the entire council, and we've retained an attorney to represent the City Council, KP Law. I just submitted a few moments ago, as I indicated to you, that Mr. Correia, and I'm going to outline some components of that letter and answer some questions. My letter has indicated that since Mr. Correia refused to comply with the Council's emergency vote, he has forced the Council to take appropriate action up to and including seeking enforcement of the order in court. While I would most likely prefer to avoid all of this turmoil that such would create here, that is the decision of Mr. Correia to make. I hope that he would respect the Council's vote and try to avoid legal action and additional pressure in this community. He should comply with that order and, as I indicated in my letter, resign. Some components of the letter that I would like to share with you here this afternoon. The letter that Mr. Correia was sent this afternoon outlines that the City Council's vote to temporarily relieve the mayor of his duties was sent to him and articulated by the Council this week, which the mayor has refused to acknowledge. Tuesday's vote, undertaken pursuant to Section 3-8 of the Fall River City Charter, authorizes the City Council to temporarily relieve the mayor of his duties when the Council determines that the mayor is unable to perform his duties. The Council does not take this step lightly. The severity of these allegations, widespread corruption and abuse of power contained in the indictments, has led the Council to deem his actions and the action unnecessary and in the best interest of the people here of Fall River. With the positive economic activity and development that's happening in Fall River, allowing Mr. Correia to remain in office would cause immediate and irreparable harm to those activities, the city and the people of Fall River. For instance, because Mr. Correia allegedly took kickbacks from prospective marijuana businesses, our state representatives have called for a moratorium on new marijuana licenses in this city. The office of mayor has immense power and a great deal of discretion. People need to trust the mayor and have the confidence that the mayor will act and make decisions that are in the best interests of this community. For that reason, the Council felt that these most recent indictments, which include alarming allegations of bribery, corruption, and abuses of power, requires that the mayor be temporarily relieved of his duties. Unlike the last time Mr. Correia was indicted by the federal government, this time the allegations pertain directly to his conduct as mayor. For instance, indictments relating to activity as mayor include 8 extortion-related counts relating to the alleged scheme through which he took money from marijuana businesses and applicants in exchange for the issuance of non-opposition letters and host agreements. 2 extortion-related counts relating to the alleged scheme through which he took money and property in exchange for the issuance of a permit and the activation of a water service to a building owner. 1 count of bribery relating to the alleged appointment of his chief of staff in exchange for half of her salary for that position. According to the U.S. Attorney Ludington, Mr. Correia has engaged in an outrageous, brazen campaign of corruption that has turned his job into a personal ATM and made City Hall a pay-to-play institution. For all of these reasons, Mr. Correia is convinced that he has the best interests of the city of Fall River. For all these reasons, the Council is convinced that it is in the best interest of the city of Fall River for Mr. Correia to temporarily relieve himself of his duties. I will be calling a special meeting of the Fall River City Council on Wednesday, September 18th, during which we will most likely proceed in executive session to discuss our next steps with our attorney. Of course, it is entirely within Mr. Correia's power, which he has not done yet, to act in the best interest of Fall River and the people of Fall River and the businesses of Fall River involved in Fall River by accepting the council's vote, handing over the keys to City Hall, and facilitating an orderly and peaceful transition while the charges against him are resolved. Now, as far as I'm concerned as council president this afternoon, I will be and intend to perform the duties of acting mayor, as stated in the city charter. Now, it's important that we must also consider the employees and the department heads that work for Fall River and not really put them or continue to put them in an uncomfortable position. So if you're looking for some kind of a showdown on Monday morning between Mr. Correia and I, that's not happening from me. On Monday morning, we will see what happens. We'll see if Mr. Correia does, in fact, return his keys. It is not going to serve this community any good, me going upstairs or sitting outside of his office or rekeying his office. Now, that would provide great entertainment value, but that would not be what's best for this community, will not be what's best for Fall River, and will certainly not be what's best for the department heads that have to come to work every day that have been constantly distracted since last Friday. So I want the department heads and the people of Fall River to know this, that the department heads here in Fall River all have supervisors. We have a city administrator who is still here. We have a corporation counsel who is still here. We have the Department of Public Works who is still here. All the department heads are still here. All the city employees have supervisors. They'll continue to report as they would any other day, and we'll hopefully try to move past this continued headache. I will say one last comment, that I am absolutely more impressed than, really, I'm very impressed with the fact that every single city employee in this building has come to work every single day this week since last Friday and did their best for this community. They came to work under awful circumstances, under hard circumstances that the mayor has caused, and come to work every day and given what's best for this community, and that needs to be noted. So I thank them for that. There'll be business as usual in Fall River, but again, if you're looking for a showdown, that ain't happening here. I'll entertain some questions.
I understand the outrage. Isn't he presumed innocent, though, until he goes to trial?
Absolutely. I said that, and I've said it, these are all allegations, but these allegations are serious allegations, and I think the city council acted appropriately.
So is what are the legal options
At this point, again, I am only one counselor. I'm not the one who makes all of the decisions on behalf of the council. There's 9 other city council or 8 other city councilors. We have a body of 9. We have an attorney that we've retained through working with Corporation Counsel's office. We will be, in fact, meeting on Wednesday of this coming Wednesday to discuss, most likely to discuss legal strategy going forward. I know some people will say, why don't you have this meeting on Monday? Why don't you have it on Tuesday? Well, we have an election on Tuesday. Some councilors that were polled were not available on Monday. So we will be meeting on Wednesday at 5:15 in council chambers. That meeting will be an emergency meeting that the city clerk will be posting at some point this afternoon if she hasn't done so already.
So does fall around 2 mayors right now?
As far as I'm concerned, I'm the acting mayor. Mayor Correia has failed to follow the duties and responsibilities of the order that was an emergency preamble, then followed by an emergency order that states in the city charter that it is adopted, it is law, if you want to call it, or if it moves forward as soon as it's adopted.
Has any department head said they're following you instead of Mayor Correia at this moment?
I haven't had those kind of conversations with department heads. My focus has been when I've spoke to department heads in the city of Fall River over the last couple of days, that, continue to do your job. I'm trying to improve morale because there's a tremendous issue with some morale in this building, contrary to what Mr. Correia wants to articulate, that it's business as usual. But in any kind of corporation, when your CEO is under, federal indictments of allegations in his capacity as mayor, that needs to be noted, and it's definitely a constant distraction.
So you said that there's not going to be a showdown on the 6th floor on Monday. Will you go to work on the 6th floor?
On Monday, I actually, in that morning, which has been planned for a long time, I got a personal matter I will be attending to on Monday morning. So, and even if I didn't, it's not good for Fall River for me to go upstairs and have all this continued media attention. We have an attorney that's representing the City Council. We'll continue to follow the advice of our attorney, and we will all, as a council, all get into one room at some point, most likely an executive session on Wednesday afternoon to discuss where we are going forward.
Is there a legal precedent in another town that you can point to bolster your argument here?
We'll reserve our strategy as a council as we enter most likely an executive session on Wednesday to discuss what direction we would be going in as a council. Again, I'm one councilor, so I need to hear the feedback from other councilors in terms of their positions and where we're at this point going forward. But again, I need all 8 other colleagues of mine to be part of the discussion, and we hope to have their input as well.
So what would be the mechanism by which this issue is resolved? I know obviously the courts, would there be some sort of restraining order pursued?
We'll speak with our attorney on that process going forward. This matter is simply resolved if the mayor just turned his keys in and followed the city council's order. I mean, I know he had this press conference yesterday or the day before where he says, he signed a piece of paper authorizing the city council to move forward and all this other stuff. But, we don't have to go to court. We don't need to use taxpayer dollars to fight this in court if the mayor could just resign from his duties as mayor and we can move forward. But he doesn't want to. He wants to put this on the city council to do, and that's unfortunate, and that's where we are today.
Isn't it up to the voters?
Not to my knowledge.
Isn't it up to the voters to say whether or not the mayor should stay?
Oh, absolutely. The voters decide. There's an election on Tuesday, which we hope people get out and vote. There's another election in November, which we hope people go out and vote. It's not a matter of when there is an election. The mayor has a term until January 1st of 2020. So whether he's successful on Tuesday or in November, he's still the mayor through the end of his term. And I think, as I've articulated pretty clearly, I think that these allegations are serious. And if this was any other department head, if this was a city administrator, if this was the public, the private sector, or the public sector, whatever sector it is, the person would be put on paid administrative leave. And it should be no different for politicians either.
So is it premature to say that things that Correia does as mayor will be ignored because you're waiting on this primary election by other departments? Like things that come down from the mayor's office, can the council act on them? Or?
That's something we'll discuss with our attorney.
So do you think if you were in charge and the mayor stepped aside, that the Cannabis Commission would all of a sudden start granting licenses again in Fall River?
Well, I think there is some legislation, as I indicated, through a couple state reps in Massachusetts that are looking for a halt to be placed on that. At that point, I'll speak with the state reps, I'll speak with Corporation Council and see what's going forward. That's not the biggest priority right now in granting additional marijuana licenses, I don't think. I think the priority as we are going forward is to restore a little bit of hope and stability in this community right now and try to bring us some closure to this very dark place that the mayor has put us in.
Can you comment on the letter you released this last night before regarding mayorally?
Yes, I spoke with Corporation Council this afternoon, yesterday. I forwarded that letter, I want to say it was Wednesday night. Spoke to Corporation Council and the city administrator on Thursday morning. The city administrator and Corporation Council, along with Ms. Holly Hill-Baptiste from BCTC, issued a letter to Mr. Camara telling him that he needs to fulfill the rest of his vacation time that he has accrued. He is not to take any part in city business, not have any contact with BCTC, and we will revisit that within 30 days. That was the decision that was made, jointly made with Corporation Council, our city administrator, as well as Ms. Baptiste from BCTC.
Did you mention whether or not you have been sworn in this week?
I have not been sworn in. This has all kind of happened real fast. I felt it was appropriate to address the press here tonight because, again, I'm sure you all will be reaching out to me at some point this weekend, so I tried to get you in a room at the same time. I did not get sworn in by the city clerk. The mayor hasn't actually resigned from his duties. So we'll proceed again. I was in the clerk's office at 5 o'clock today. We left about 5:05. Mayor was not there. In fact, he's not even in the building from what I understand. So that's where we're at this point.